Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the last live event of day 2 of National Apprenticeship Week. I'm your host, Ali from CareerMap TV, and it's my pleasure to introduce the team from Severn Trent who will be running through what opportunities they have to offer from an apprenticeship and at an early careers perspective as well. We'll hear about the programs they have on offer, the recruitment process, and we'll also get the inside track from current apprentices who will share their experiences with us. There'll be a Q&A at the end of the session, so remember to leave your questions in the chat and the Q&A box as well, and we'll come back to them at the end of the session for a quick Q&A. So without further ado, I'll let the Severn Trent head on into their session.
Thanks for the intro. So I'm Dawn Gallagher. I'm the Apprentice Programme Manager here at Severn Trent, and I'm joined by 3 of our apprentices, which later on they will share a little bit of insight into their apprentice journey so far. But I've just got a presentation to go through first and foremost. So these are the things that we're going to be covering. So a bit of introductions, a little bit about Severn Trent, what is an apprenticeship and what is the offer for a Severn Trent apprenticeship, what roles are available, a little bit about the application process, what you can expect, and of course to hear from our apprentices. So this is our Severn Trent region, and so we operate within this space. There's 4 elements of our company that make up Severn Trent. We've got our Severn Trent services. So Severn Trent services operate services for the likes of the MOD and contracted services. So where there are areas of the country where new builds are required, then they will contact Severn Trent for commercial services. So we've got that element of the company. We've also got our core business, our Severn Trent business. So this is literally the providing and the cleaning of all of the water services. We've got our HD part of the business, which is in the Welsh area of our country. So operating the services for the Welsh area. And then we've got our biodiversity region as well. So this is taking and recycling food waste from local companies and also creating energy through bioresources. So across Severn Trent, there's probably about 7,000 employees. So we are a fairly large organisation. So just a brief kind of like touch on what we do. So we collect the water from reservoirs and local rivers. We clean the water. The water is cleaned and distributed. Customers enjoy our services. So, you know, as soon as you turn on the tap, that is Severn Trent. We collect all of the wastewater. We clean the wastewater and then we recycle it back into the environment. So that is essentially our core business. So our values are really important at Severn Trent. They really anchor everything that we do. So having courage, taking pride, embracing curiosity and showing care, and essentially taking care of one of life's essential, which is our water. Now, you know, from day one, and I'm sure our apprentices online will agree, day one, we talk about our values at Severn Trent. They really are integrated in all of our targets, our performance discussions, our development discussions, and in everything that we do. Do you agree, guys, in terms of the values? Yeah. Like they are integral to everything that we do at Severn Trent, and we really, really believe in them. We're also very focused on our environment. So we know that the environment is an essential piece to our supply chain, and that's why we take steps to preserve it. So, you know, we have got so many programs that you've got the opportunity to get involved in. So if you are interested in supporting the environment, sustainability and things like that, but it's not necessarily directly linked to your role, there's opportunities to volunteer and get involved in some of these programs here. We've got a target to be net zero by 2030, and we're massively on track for that as well, to kind of smash that target. And there's some other interesting stats here. So, you know, we plant trees as well as part of our volunteering. We work with local farmers to make sure that they are sort of operating in an environmentally friendly way by kind of upskilling and offering them sort of water solutions. And as I say, in terms of volunteering in the community, because what we want to do is kind of protect the people that we serve. So really getting involved in the community. There's loads of opportunities to do that. We can do it by for like a team building event as well. So you get 2 days per year that you can use for volunteering. So a lot of teams will use that to go and, you know, restore a community centre, or to see to sort of like the school's gardens and things like that in the local area. So it's a good opportunity to develop the team skills, but also to give back to the community. We're really focused on inclusion and diversity at Severn Trent as well. We want everybody to feel valued and to feel part of the wider Severn Trent community. So we've got lots of focus groups that you are able to get involved in if you've got a particular interest in a particular area. So again, lots of opportunities to do things that are complementary to your role as well, and that kind of sync to your own values. And here are just some of the awards that Severn Trent have kind of been recognised for. So 6th on the equality, on the Tortoise Responsibility Index in 2021, 5th on the Social Mobility Index, 40th on the Stonewall Workplace Equality Index in 2022, Level 2 Disability Confident Employee, 18th for Senior Female Representation. And we've actually just had, you might have seen in the news, we've had some more appointments in our senior leadership of women, which I think we've got the highest amount of women in senior positions in, I think, the country. So look us up on that. We're all over the news for that. And then 61st in 4,000 in the gender equality global ranking. So some stuff to be really, really proud of, and we're always going after other stuff. And we're not just going after the awards, we're really working with our diversity groups to understand how we can kind of step up and level up to do even more in the workplace. So what's an apprenticeship then? So you've probably, if you've joined at these calls previously today, you probably know this. So it's a real job, it's hands-on experience, and it's based on an occupation. At Severn Trent, it actually means that you receive a permanent contract. So unlike some other employees that offer a fixed term contract or a temporary contract with the view of you applying for a role at the end of the programme, at Severn Trent, the way that we approach it is we're filling a future need. So we talk to the business, we ask them what they need for their future success. And it might be that they've got people coming up to retirement. It might be that they've got a new project that requires new skills, or it might be a bit of a skills gap in our company. So those are the reasons for our programs. So your entry into our business, we're investing straight away into your development to get you ready for that off-scheme role to fulfill a future need. So that is why we're able to offer a full-time role after the end of your apprenticeship, and it is equivalent to the experience that you gain whilst on programme. So if you do a 3-year apprenticeship, for example, when you come off that scheme, your salary equivalent will be recognising that you've had those 3 years experience in that programme. So in terms of salary, it is very competitive and in line with the market. You also benefit from a lot of the permanent benefits that brings. So we've got share save, we've got pension, we've got a load of discounts that are available to our employees. We've got access to medical 24/7. So for those of you that have phoned a doctor and not been able to get through, our staff are able to get through to experts immediately. So all of these lifestyle benefits that we have at Severn Trent are available to all of our apprentices. So apprentices can take anything between 1 and 5 years to complete, depending on the level of apprenticeship that you apply for. So at the moment we're advertising level 2 apprenticeships up to level 6. So your level 6 is your degree apprenticeship levels, and there's a little bit of a matrix there to kind of associate the level of apprenticeship to the equivalent qualification there, but they do vary across our programmes. So just a brief about apprenticeship structure. So again, I think this is probably something that you'll kind of know quite a lot about by now if you've kind of looked at apprenticeships. So you've got the enrolment phase. So once you start with Severn Trent, you will be starting the last week in September, last week in August, first week in September, because we've got such a large cohort this year. And your enrolment will follow that date. So depending on the programme and the provider, you may get enrolled within a couple of weeks of starting, or they might have a cohort starting in a month or two after you started your apprenticeship. So it all depends on the program that you go for, but we try and get you enrolled as soon as possible. And what that enrolment process looks like is you'll meet with the provider, perhaps somebody from my team and your line manager, and you agree what's called a commitment statement. So you agree to doing certain things within your apprenticeship and meeting the performance requirements throughout the programme. In terms of the contractual side of things, that's done by my team, so you don't need to worry about that. But that enrolment is really for everybody to be on the same page, to really understand the programme that you're on, for everybody to commit to that programme and ensure you're set up for success, really. You've got the off-the-job training hours. So this traditionally was 20% of your working week needed to be evidence that you were doing something for the first time or learning something new. That's recently changed to 6 hours per week. So for example, some of our programs, you'll go to a training centre for a week. So that's 5 weeks worth of training in that big block. So what you find is, especially with our operational apprenticeships, is your off-the-job hours quickly add up within the first year, but then plateau out the sort of remaining years after that. So it's just a case of just keeping on top of that, recording the evidence, associating it to your programme, and just kind of keeping on track throughout your programme. Gateway is what you go into once you've met all your criteria of your apprenticeship. You've done all your sort of practice papers, if you've got a knowledge test or trade test. You've practiced your interview skills, you've met all the criteria, you've done all your skills, knowledge and behaviours, and then it's a meeting with yourself, the provider and your line manager, and again sometimes my team, to agree that you're ready to go into what's called endpoint assessment. And then once you're in endpoint assessment, that is when an external verifier comes in and assesses your work and assesses your competency. So they will come in, they'll look at your portfolio, they'll do a professional interview, you may have to give a presentation, and some of the apprenticeships have got extra tests and extra exams, and some of them have got projects that you need to complete within that endpoint assessment as well. So that usually takes about 3 months. There are some programs that it's 5 where it involves a project, but it tends to be about 3 months. And once you have completed that endpoint assessment and you've got your final score, as long as it's a pass, merit or distinction, then we can roll you into your off-scheme role and you'll effectively have your off-scheme salary. So what kind of support that you'll get in Severn Trent? And I'm sure the guys can kind of vouch for this later on. There's so much support in Severn Trent for our apprentices, well, for our colleagues, let alone our apprentices. If you are an operational apprentice, the mentor that you'll have will be really key in your programme, because you're going to be out on site, you're going to be in vans driving around, or kind of on sites fixing machinery and things like that. Your mentor is really key in keeping you safe and making sure that you're not doing anything that is above your competency level and that you haven't been signed off for. And also for you to really learn the role and really see the role for yourself. So you'll be spending a lot of time with your mentor. So we do train our mentors and our managers to make sure that they have the right behaviours and the right skill sets in order to support our apprentices. But they are a really key player in our operational world. In the office space, that mentor will be somebody that is doing the role that you're being trained up to do, or it might be an apprentice that is further along their journey than where you start. So that mentor, you'd meet on a, I don't know, sort of twice a month kind of basis, where you'll kind of touch base, understand like where you are with your program, and kind of ask for kind of support and advice. So it's a little bit of a different role, but all very valuable as well. You've also got your line manager. As I say, your line manager will go on some training as well to make sure that they are equipped with all of the knowledge and skills that they need to support you in your program. And I work really closely with the line managers to make sure that apprentices stay on track. So I have a holistic view of everybody's performance, and where there is kind of concerns or issues or areas where we want to celebrate success, then I'll be talking to the line managers to see, you know, what are we doing in that space. We've got our HR and academy, so we've got quite a large HR team. So any kind of help that anybody needs, the HR team are there to support. They also support the business in terms of what their future needs are for resourcing and new talent opportunities. We've got the academy, which we're really proud of. We've got a centre in Coventry, in Finham, where we host a lot of our training. So it might be, you might go there for a training session on relationship building, or you might go on there to actually learn how to fix a leak. So it is a breadth of experience at that academy. But then through that academy as well, we deliver a lot of online training and a lot of e-learning. So we've got a whole team at the academy to support your sort of learning and development needs outside of your apprenticeship. We're also an in-sourced training provider. So there's 3 programs that we run as training providers. So that's in the operational space as well. So things like the assistant water network technicians and the technical operator roles and the wastewater, that is all in-house as well. And we're really proud of our success rate within that. We've only been running it for a year and a half, 2 years, coming up to our first cohort that are going to be graduating soon. And it's been a massive learning curve, but we're really proud of what we've done in that space, and we're really proud of that particular programme. Your training provider, so if that isn't Severn Trent, then we work with your training provider to make sure that they're providing you with all the support and all of the information that you need in order to be successful within your programme. And again, I kind of like sit above that to make sure that everybody is doing what they need to do. But that relationship between your line manager, your apprentice and the training provider is really key to make sure that things stay on track. And then we've got the New Talent Network. So again, something we're really proud of. We've got a New Talent Network which is made up of apprentices, graduates, interns and apprentices. And they meet on a regular basis. We have kind of like a tiered membership. So we have like our chiefs that kind of meet on a regular basis, talk about the feedback that's coming through from our new talent, talking about social events and organising those, getting a general feel from other people in our regions about how people are feeling and what the concerns are, to really kind of promote connection and get people, you know, connected on some of our more remote sites as well. So a really key network to kind of bring everybody together. And then we've got the new talent team, which is what I sit in. So alongside me, we've got a graduate manager, we've got the recruitment and selection manager, so we manage our own recruitment and selection processes, and then we've got some work experience leads that go out to the schools and talk about opportunities, not just within our sector, but, you know, just kind of setting up our future talent. So spoke about the Severn Trent Academy. So there are like 5 streams of that. So we've got our operations. So that is where our apprentices kind of like fall into. Then we've got leadership and management stream. We've got professional development and business skills. So we do operate apprenticeships for existing staff as part of their development. So they can get the skills and the knowledge that they need for their onward careers. We have an engineering stream and a customer stream as well. So loads of content sits behind all of that, face-to-face training, online training, e-learning, all of that kind of great stuff. So a bit of a summary of our offer. So in terms of an induction program, so we're just working out what that's going to look like this year, but it will be you come into the academy, our training centre, for a few days, doing some group activities, learning a little bit more about the company, meeting some really key stakeholders, and kind of building your cohort and your connections that hopefully will see you throughout your apprenticeship program. Skilled mentors, so you'll get a skilled mentor that is going to be able to teach you and show you what you need for your apprenticeship. Personal development plans, so everybody will understand what their development looks like on their program and off their program as well. So as soon as you complete your program, it's not kind of like wash your hands with you. There's onward development plans that we implement. Bespoke training plans programs, so depending on what program you do, we will make sure that we have a wraparound training program for you. So it's not just delivery of your apprenticeship provider, it's also, you know, what do we want you to know as a Severn Trent employee as well. Further access to community. So with the New Talent Network, we also have a newsletter that we send out on a monthly basis to kind of celebrate successes and give out really important information, and lots of competitions and lunches and learns and stuff like that. And then in terms of your pay, so the pay starts on just over £17,000 for your first year, and then each year you'll have an increment. So depending on how long you're on a scheme or what your off-scheme salary is, the aim of the pay increases each year is to get you closer to that off-scheme position. So so you'll benefit that each year, and you'll also, because you're a permanent employee, any bonuses that the company gives to their employees, you will also benefit from. So just really quickly about our 2023 programme. So this is our biggest intake yet. So at the moment we have around 222 apprentices on programme, and we are advertising for 129 positions this year. So last year I think it was around about 96. The year before that I think it was around about 62. Year before that, I think it was around the 40 mark. So each year we're getting bigger and bigger. And every year we're like, this is the biggest intake ever. So God knows what next year is going to look like. We'll just have to see. But yeah, 129 positions, which is amazing. There's 11 new programs to us this year as well. So we are working with the business areas and the providers to kind of map that out. So for some of these, what you'll see in the job adverts is it might say that the providers to be confirmed, because we're going through a process at the moment to make sure that we have the right provider for that. So we're going through a bit of a sort of discovery calls to understand what the delivery model looks like and make sure that they kind of align with our values as well. So if it is to be confirmed, that's the reason why. So these are our higher level apprenticeships. So these are equivalent to sort of degree apprenticeships. So we've got new ones in the environmental space. So the environmental practitioner, environmental scientist is a new one for us. So that's quite an exciting program, especially given the fact that, you know, as Severn Trent, we're all about the environment, like our bread and butter is the environment. So actually bringing that skill in and getting those expertise in our company is just essential for us right now. So they're really exciting programs. Then we've got some more higher level apprenticeships. So we've got asset manager. That's a new one for us as well. So that is really understanding, you know, what assets we have as a business and where we're at with it, what needs to be kind of replaced, what do we need as a business to kind of keep our sites live. We've got so assistant buyer and business analyst. Those are existing programs. We've been doing those for a couple of years. Cybersecurity is a new one for us. Sales is a new one. Sustainability analyst. So the actual program for that is data analyst, but with that bias of sustainability. So really understanding what the opportunities are out there to sort of improve sustainability. And then, so assistant water network technician. So that is one of our in-sourced apprenticeships. And you'll see that there's various locations here. So with our operational apprenticeships, we've got more numbers in that space, less programs. And then in the office space, we've got less numbers, but more programs, if you get what I mean. Business administrator, that's a new one for us as well. So, so we're working to understand where the best providers are for that one. Yeah, I think those ones that we've delivered before. Maintenance technician, I'll just pull this one out. So with the electrical, ICA and mechanical maintenance technicians, this is where apprentices stay in, they're residential. The provider is Make UK in Aston. And if you're not local to that area, then you'll be staying at the hotel that's local to the Aston site. And for the first year, you'd essentially be at the college. And for sort of half terms and stuff, that's when you'll be going back to site to be with your teams. So that particular apprenticeship is really, the first year is really tough because you're away from home potentially, and it's quite an intensive, you know, schedule for works. But what you get out the back of that, and when you're on site, and the qualifications that you get in the end, really weigh the commitment for the first year. But just want to call it out, it is a bit of a tough apprenticeship, but really, really rewarding. What else? Yeah, so operation technician. So that is our entry level roles. That's our level 2 role, and technical operator. So that is what is going to be delivered in through our academy. So what we're looking for, so this is our selection criteria. So we're looking for the potential. We don't expect people to have the experience and the knowledge and skills, because that isn't what an apprenticeship is. So when we do the assessments, we assess it on these 7 strengths. So ownership, learning agility, adaptability, relationship builder, courage, analysis, and drive. So when you go through the online assessment, it will ask you a series of questions. It will ask you to order, you know, decision making, and it's testing these things, these strengths. So these are the things that we kind of test throughout our selection process. So as I say, so application form is the first thing. Online assessment. So this is the automated online assessment. And then if you're successful, then we go to final interview, which is our online assessments. For our operational roles, we're going to be doing them in person all over the region, but for our office-based roles, they'll be online. And there's loads of resources as well, and the links are in here as well for you to kind of do some sort of test assessments and things like that. So this one particularly, the preparation hub. So Capfinity is the online assessment tool that we use. So if you go to that preparation hub and do some practicing first, then it will give you a feel for what that assessment looks like, and kind of set you up for success. So just some timelines then. So our vacancies are live at the moment. They close towards the end of March. April, we'll invite candidates that are successful to the final stages of the assessment centres, and then we'll make the offers and start the onboarding process in May and June. We'll do some pre-start events and welcome events, so you can meet your teams, see the sites that you're going to be working on before you officially start in September, well, end of August, beginning of September. So some key dates then. Obviously, it's National Apprenticeship Week. This is why we're here. We've got a virtual WebEx launch. So that's a virtual work experience platform that's going to be going live on our careers website, so look out for that. On the 23rd of February, we've got a careers event, and that's at the Severn Trent Centre in the middle of Coventry Town Centre. Our roles close on the 24th of March. Assessment centres open April, May, and then we'll make our offers May, June. So those are some key dates for you. So enough about me speaking. And I want to hand over to our apprentices. I think we seem to have lost Amy and Alice. No? Oh, there she is. There's Amy. There's Alice. Fantastic. Thank you. Firstly, I'm just going to hand over for them to introduce themselves, tell you a little bit about their programme, and then I think we're going to open it to some questions. So if I hand over to Nathan first. Hi, Nathan.
Hello, you're all right. You hear me all right?
Yeah, perfect.
Cool. So I'm a project and change management apprentice. So I work both in project management and change management. So both sides of that instead of just the one or the other. I currently work in the retail change space. So a lot of our affordability programs, struggling customers and stuff like that. Any large, like massive projects that go on there and are currently going on there, I have my hand in the pot, so very fortunate on that one. I've been with the business for 6-7 months now, so joined last August in the previous cohort, so you guys will be obviously the next one along from me. And I'm on a level 4 apprenticeship currently, with the caveat that at the end of my apprenticeship I'll be doing my project management degree. So yeah, that's me.
Thanks, Nathan. Alice?
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
So I'm Alice. I'm an apprentice associate project manager. I've worked for Severn Trent since January 22, so I've been here for over a year now. I work within water treatment delivery, so a lot of the projects that I work on are to do with water quality and ensuring that our end product, the water, is safe to drink. Yeah, I think that's everything about me.
One of the most important roles, Alice. Amy?
Hi, yeah, I'm Amy and I'm apprentice project manager. So I joined with Nathan back in August, but I'm on level 6 programme, so the degree apprenticeship, and I work in group transformation. So there's lots of different programmes and projects to get involved in. So yeah, that's it from me.
Thanks, Amy. So I think are we going to be opening up to questions? Ali?
Shall we open up some questions?
Yeah.
Let's crack on into them. So question from Gina. What skills or qualities do you generally look for in a successful apprentice?
So, as I said, it's based on the 7 strengths. So it's about the potential. So I would say when we are kind of in assessments, we're looking at people with the right behaviours, the behaviours that kind of align to Severn Trent. So, you know, if you've got a discussion going on and you're talking over everybody, or, you know, kind of arguing the points and things like that, that's not kind of like the behaviours that we'd be looking for. We'd be looking for that respect, that care, and also that confidence as well, to kind of be able to kind of put your point across in a good way. So it's more behaviours and potential rather than skills, because I think we can teach knowledge, we can teach skills to an extent. So it is that kind of like behaviour thing that we're looking for.
Great answer.
I don't know if you have got a view on that. What do you think got you through?
I think bringing my dog to the assessment centre got me through, if I'm being brutally honest.
Yeah, to be fair.
So, like with every careers event I go to, I've been to a couple now, to talk to some of the prospective talent that I might be joining Severn Trent, is literally just be yourself. It is a strengths-based interview. We're not looking for things to trip you up. We're looking for skills that you already have that can be further developed. So, yeah.
That's really good add-on. Thanks, Nathan.
Anything from our other apprentices?
No, not from me. I agree with Nathan. It's be yourself is the main point.
Fair play. Go on to the next one. Question from Jack. How does Severn Trent support its apprentices in their career development?
So, I mean, as Nathan just said, in his circumstance, so he's on a level 4 at the moment, with the view that he will go on to a degree apprenticeship thereafter. So there's so much development opportunities in Severn Trent, and I think that you know, in terms of career changes as well and getting involved in different areas of the business, there's always the opportunity. So I think when you're on your apprenticeship program, is look for the opportunities where it will give you exposures in different places as well, because you just never know where that conversation is going to take you. And whilst you're on your apprenticeship program, you're not able to apply for other jobs, but you are able to get experience in other areas, because that's all, you know, it kind of contributes to the you know, the full picture of Severn Trent, getting that kind of like in your head, and also that networking as well. So so I think the development opportunities in Severn Trent is literally endless, and especially because we've got our own academy as well, and we've got our own trainers. You know, we're quite passionate about like teaching the Severn Trent way.
Mm-hmm. Great answer. Here's a good one from Kira here. She says, oh, where'd it go? What do you think sets Severn Trent apart as a great place to start a career in the water industry?
Say that again, you broke up a little bit, sorry.
What do you think sets Severn Trent apart as a great place to start a career in the water industry?
So, do you know what? I think when I first started Severn Trent, literally within 2 weeks, so I've only been here a year and a half, literally in 2 weeks, I felt like a part of Severn Trent. So the things that they teach you about how to look after our water, for example, like what to flush down the toilet or what not to flush down the toilet, and how to save water and stuff. I literally was a water geek within 2 weeks, telling my family to do certain things and turn the tap off when they're brushing their teeth and things like that, because I really felt that pull to our purpose, like why we do what we do. And I think having that purpose kind of helps the motivation in your role, because whatever you're doing, you're making a difference to you know, people that you love and your community. And I think what other company kind of does that, really? Because without Severn Trent in our region, well, let's face it, we'd all be goners. So, you know, I think just knowing that, it just fills me with pride, really. So literally within 2 weeks, that was me, Severn Trenter.
Very nice. Well, I'll go to our apprentices. How did they feel when they had started
I guess I'll start. I know you think I hear my voice by the end of this, I promise. So I think for me to go back to that question in terms of a great place to start a career in the water industry, I think just as a general overarching statement, it's a great place to start a career in any industry. I mean, I worked in a more operational business. I was a production engineer at JCB prior to starting here. I think that coming across and realizing that there's so much progression, there's so much ongoing support, there's so much, encouragement from teams that you're actually working in to teams in different business areas. Everyone's always really friendly. They come up to you, they'll always ask you questions and talk to you and kind of give you their story in terms of how they got there. And some of them are amazing. You've got people who started at 16 and have been within the business for 40 odd years. So yeah, it's just ongoing support, and there we go. That's my answer for that one on my part.
I'll go next. So yeah, I agree. I feel like I'm a slightly older, so I'm 26, and I've worked for quite a few different companies. I've done quite a lot of things sort of in my background, and I feel like I've probably finally found a company that I want to stay with, and I can massively say that you can see like how much sort of people care and take pride sort of in the water industry element, but then sort of in your development as well. Just to have like managers and just all that support around you, I can really sort of vouch for that. And again, since I've started, everyone is just so friendly, and if you need any help from anyone is always willing to do that. So yeah, I think for me it's a great company, and yeah, they really sort of show that they cares in the water side and for yourself as well for progression.
Great answer.
So from my view, I pretty much joined Severn Trent straight from sixth form, so I didn't have that past kind of career experience. Joining the company though, from day one, there's always been so many opportunities and doors open for me to learn and develop my skills. Definitely, for myself, I'm on a level 4 apprenticeship. I started from the bottom and I was able to build up, and now, a year ago, I wouldn't think I'd be where I am now with all this knowledge and being able to, help run these really important projects. I agree with what everyone said with how friendly everyone is in the company, especially for myself, my manager and my mentor have been a great help, always kind of being there. So I've never kind of been left in a uncertain situation, which is a massive gain. So
great. Well, following on from uncertain situations, Bilal says, what has been the biggest challenge for you during your apprenticeship, and how did you tackle it?
I'll go first. So obviously mine is a free apprenticeship, and I think the hardest thing for me is trying to balance the work and study sort of life. I think you have sort of your day job to do, but then you've got obviously the studying side for a degree. So I think for me, I really enjoy it, but it's quite tough, as in there's a lot to take on. You have to be quite organised and just obviously make sure you sort of manage your time quite well. But I do love the aspect that you obviously have work to use the sort of knowledge you gain from the uni side and sort of apply it in your day-to-day role. You have that to do that as well. But yeah, I think the most challenging thing for me is trying to balance the work study situation, but it's all good. You just have to manage your time and be organised, really. So yeah, that's from me.
On the other apprentices?
So I completely agree. I think definitely at the start, that time management was quite difficult, more so because I haven't really been in a situation like this before. But quite quickly, with my team support, I was able to dedicate enough time to make sure my studies and revision were getting done alongside my day-to-day work.
Amazing. Great answers so far.
So,
right.
Sorry. For me, probably the biggest challenge facing an apprenticeship in general, I think I had a bit of an overarching fear of going back into an educational learning space. So I really disagreed with school to an extent. So I went through school and then I went through sixth form, and then I kind of just learned to resent it. And that's why I avoided university at all costs. And then coming back into an apprenticeship where I was kind of more office based, and I accepted the fact that I was going to be in a learning environment again. And it would just shocked me. I was treated like an adult. I was treated with respect. I was treated as an equal. And that kind of fear just kind of instantaneously dissipated within my first week. So yeah, that was probably it. And that's how I overcame it.
Great. On to the next one. Relevant still with our apprentices. Can you talk about any experiences you've had working with customers or in the community while at Severn Trent?
So working with customers is kind of my area. I don't have a day-to-day face-to-face interaction with customers. Very much work on the back office processes and change. And I think that my interactions with customers so far has been very much, I've been listening into phone calls. You know, it says your phone call might be recorded for training purposes. It is well and truly listened to. We do make changes from the back of it, and then going off and understanding the customer journey and the customers, like the way they go through our processes and systems, is absolutely immense. But in terms of community work, I've been able to go out to a couple of the local schools. I work in affordability, so I'm part of a charity group, like a charity fundraising group within our part of the business, where we go and help kind of charities in the local area as to where our teams are based. Obviously, on the back of the fact that we're all working affordability and we all care about the local area and the cost of living crisis that most of us are affected by.
Yeah.
I think it's probably worth saying as well that, you know, some of our programs are more customer focused and facing than others. So, you know, the office, apart from the customer advisor role, which is obviously, you know, in the call centres and stuff, a lot of it is kind of back office things. But our operational apprentices, so our leakage apprentices, our connection operatives, you know, those people are really out there with our community and, you know, communicate with our customers, manage their sort of their queries and complaints and things, and really try and kind of help them. So, I mean, one of our leakage guys the other day, he was working on a road and a customer came up and was like, oh, I think there's a leak on my drive. Can you come and have a look at it? So off he went, and sure enough, there was a leak. And because, you know, the customer fell within the vulnerable bracket, he was actually able to sort it out at no charge to the customer. And it's like, you know, those little things, those little elements of like going the extra mile and stuff are really celebrated in the company. So, you know, his manager we've got a portal where we put all the celebrations on called Our Brilliant People. So the manager put on like a big thing that this is what this apprentice had done, and then everyone's like commenting, and you know, it's just really kind of celebrating those lovely moments with our customers.
Great. Well, that's probably amazing. On to this, here's a good one. Question from Anal. How does Severn Trent keep its apprenticeship program up to date and relevant to the changing needs of the industry?
Yeah. So I think that's probably more in my space. So I'm connected into a lot of groups that talk about the involvement of apprenticeship standards. So we've got, we're on about 5 different trailblazer groups at the moment to make sure that you know, the kind of drivers that we have in terms of protecting the environment and working with our community are there within the apprenticeship standards, because if you're not at the table, then you don't have a say. But recently, I think the government have done a really great job in kind of intertwining a lot of environmental objectives into apprenticeship programs as well. But it's something that naturally we do anyway as a business because of the kind of business that we are. So you don't just have your program as described in your standard, what you have is your program, and then the role, and then our team, and then our objectives, and then our overall kind of company goals. So, you know, it's never like just a standalone in terms of your standard, deliver that and that's that. So there's a big kind of wraparound.
Yeah, very good, very good. From that question from Paulie, does Severn Trent have a structured program for transitioning its apprentices into permanent positions or further career opportunities?
Yeah, absolutely. We're purposeful as a business. Everything is done on purpose. So, you know, we are getting talent in now to set us up for success for the future. So that role is absolutely yours at the end of your apprenticeship. And we have got some programs where actually, instead of the off-scheme role that you go into, it might be like assistant something or other. Actually, you've done so well and performed so well in your apprenticeship that you actually go into the higher level. So, you know, that does happen as well. So really, the opportunities are there if you know, you're willing, keen and eager.
Yeah. Well, I've said, well, it's not the first time I've said it, and certainly not the last, that 85% of apprentices stay in their career after their apprenticeship ended. So there you go. And a few of them today have been in the 90, I think BAE was 95% of apprentices stay in the company. So
we've got a massive retention rate. Like literally, I think, you know, a handful of people leave, and for circumstances, you know, personal circumstances, rather than because they don't like it or they don't like Severn Trent or anything like that. So, you know, we're kind of really proud of our sort of figures as well.
Yeah. Here's a very good question from Stephen. Hi, hello. How does Severn Trent ensure that its apprentices receive a well-rounded education that covers both practical and theoretical aspects of their trade?
So, like I said before, with the mentors that we have our apprentices shadow, you know, they're our experts, so they know what they're doing, they know their jobs inside out, and they're able to provide that support to the apprentice to make sure that they get the right exposure to different elements of their programs, and you know, to make sure that they're getting everything they need in order to not only meet their apprenticeship standard, but also to meet their own development needs as well. So really understanding that individual, understanding their sort of key strengths and celebrating those and developing those further, but also looking at areas where they might be struggling and how we can kind of support them to develop in that area as well. So we're all about setting that apprentice up for success. And I think with all the support, the wraparound that we've got for that apprentice, we're far more likely to succeed in doing that. But I guess, you know, you've got all that support, but you need that apprentice to really drive that as well. And if they're struggling and they're not telling anybody, then, you know, it might affect their sort of experience. But with that much network that's around them, hopefully they feel that they're able to kind of like, you know, stick their hand up and say that they're struggling.
Yeah. Question from Matthew for Alice. Alice, did you study environmental science to be able to get your role?
No. So for my A levels, I did geography, business, and art, actually. So not quite as relevant as people would think.
Well, then what made you go from that into that?
Yeah, I think that's an important kind of point, really. So if you're going for an apprenticeship, so say if you were going for a project management apprenticeship, but you've got 5 years of experience in project management, then you're probably not going to be eligible for that program. So you've got to, your skill set and your knowledge has got to be at quite a low level in order for the teach to happen and for us to draw down on the levy. So we do like the skill scan to make sure that you haven't got any equivalent qualifications in the same field, or you've had the same experience, you know, years experience in the same field. So you have to have not had those years experience and not have a qualification that's equivalent to the one within that program as well. So we do that kind of check to make sure that you've got the space to do that learning. And that's what what all organisations do for apprenticeships in order to draw down the levy.
Yeah. A question from Stevie. He's asking about the web address. Can you put the web address for the online assessment practice up again? Well, Steve, it's recorded, so you can go back and watch it. Well, actually, why don't? I'm sure you guys know what slide it's on.
Okay.
And I'll go for the other question.
There you go.
There you are. There you are, Stevie. So, question from Jack now. What is the feedback and evaluation process for Severn Trent apprentices during their apprenticeship?
So most of the providers will set up a three-way meeting between you, your line manager, maybe your mentor, depending how closely you work with your mentor. And it will be on a regular basis. So it's usually a monthly basis. So you'll have that meeting. You'll look at the evidence and the work that you've produced for the last month, talk about what's going to happen the next month, and kind of make sure that you've got the opportunities to meet those requirements. Because a lot of our sites are set up a bit differently as well. So it might be that in order to meet some criteria, you might need to go to another site and shadow somebody else for a few weeks or a month or so. So they'll make sure that that happens and that conversation happens. And if there are any issues, then they're kind of like flushed out there, rather than getting way down your program, realizing that you're behind, and then it's harder to catch up. Most providers as well have a portal that you upload your work onto, so they'll have a percentage rate of your portfolio. You'll have assessment deadlines that you'll need to meet. There may be behavioural reviews that you need to submit into the system, and then the logging of your off the job hours as a percentage. So all of those will be tracked throughout your program to see whether or not you're on or off target. And that's something that I kind of keep an eye on, but at an individual basis on the line manager, the apprentice and the provider kind of have that sort of nitty-gritty conversation. But I get a kind of a whole view of how everyone's doing on a regular basis as well.
Good stuff. That's great. Question from Stevie again. I don't know if it's the same one, but would you be able to help with finding accommodation in the area if I were successful in getting a role?
So, I mean, we can tell you about the local areas. You know, we can get you in touch with people that live in the local areas to kind of tell you, you know, where's good and whatnot. So, yeah, definitely we can have a conversation about that.
Yeah. Here's one. Would you say that this apprenticeship program is not for recent master's graduates?
As long as your master's isn't in the apprenticeship like space, then there's absolutely no reason.
Yeah. I've got a question now. For the apprentices, what is the next step in your career? Big question.
So I'll start. So as I've said, I've been on my scheme for just over 12 months now. I'm on a 20-month apprenticeship, so due to end in July, I believe. At the moment, I'm having discussions with my manager and my mentor about going on to do a degree afterwards, and actually kind of changing the subject as well. So I want to do a civil engineering degree actually, which I think will further support my team and what we do.
Good, great stuff.
Do you want me to go next? Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
So my apprenticeship currently is 12 to 15 months. You can see I'm month 6 and 7. So those conversations are going to start to be had after I've done my professional project management exam, which is actually coming up relatively quickly, as much as that makes me nervous. Following this, hopefully I secure a junior project manager role, and then they kind of can onboard me for my degree. And while I'm doing my degree, I can actually secure a full-time project manager role as other people in my team have, and then just kind of start to make my way up that way through the team.
Great.
Yeah, and then for me, because I'm in the degree years, so I've had conversations with my manager. So ideally, after the 4 years, I should go into a project manager role. Obviously, as long as I pass all my sort of uni side, my endpoint assessment, yeah, so I should go into a project manager role. But I've also had talks with where my managers actually asked me to think about where I sort of want to be in 5 years. It's quite fast, but it's good that sort of was concerned to make me think about that, sort of where I want to be. And she also said that, again, if I get to the end and I don't want to sort of be in my role, there is opportunity around the business. So I think, yeah, there's a big thing around sort of opportunity development, sort of career progression.
That's great. That's amazing, guys. Well, it is 6 o'clock. That is all we have time for. So thank you very much to the Severn Trent team for joining us and taking time to just answer everyone's questions, share their experiences, and take us through their offers. I hope you all found it very insightful in the chat, as well as I did. This is recorded, remember, as I said, so it'll be live on our website. And we have Severn Trent roles on our website as well. I'll just pop the link in the chat. But I'll leave you with the Severn Trent team. Do you have any final words of advice for our viewers?
I would say look at all the events that we've got going on, sign up for as many as you possibly can, do your research, connect with these guys on LinkedIn if you need to, and you've got any more questions. Sorry guys, just saying. But do your research, have a think about our values, go onto the Capfinity site, just do as much prep as possible. But as the guy said, be yourself, because we really want genuine people that are as passionate as us about achieving all, really. Any
words of advice from our apprentices?
Definitely connect on LinkedIn, shoot any questions over that you might have. And just again, be yourself, kind of stick to your core values. At the end of the day, Severn Trent's a very person-driven business, and you need to just go into it being fully honest with us and yourself about whether you're a good fit. And if you are, then honestly, it will be an amazing journey for you if you're successful in getting a role here.
Great. Thank you very much. I hope everyone has a lovely evening. Make sure everyone gets a nice dinner in them. And thank you very much for day 2 of National Apprenticeship Week.
Thanks,
Goodbye, everyone.
Oh, we've also got on Instagram on stories, so follow us on Instagram.
Oh yeah,
you'll see more of our apprentice stories on there.
Follow us on Instagram as well. Why not?
Awesome.
Cheerio, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.